Imagine a stadium so silent you could hear a grown man crying in the stands. Not because his team lost, but because history had just been rewritten in front of 200,000 people. That moment happened, it's real, and it's just one of the moments we're about to relive today. Because the World Cup isn't just a football tournament. It's 92 years of heartbreak, miracles, villains, heroes, and moments so insane they don't just make headlines. They change the sport itself forever. So grab a seat, because by the end of this video, you'll understand why the World Cup isn't just the biggest event in sports. It's basically modern mythology with cleats. Let's rewind for a second. The World Cup started in 1930 in Uruguay. Just 13 teams showed up. Some countries had to sail across the Atlantic Ocean for weeks just to play a few matches. Back then, nobody could have predicted what this tournament would become. 1 billion people watching a single match. Entire nations shutting down for 90 minutes. Presidents postponing meetings. Wars briefly pausing. That's the power of the World Cup. But within that history, certain moments rise above everything else. Moments that didn't just decide a trophy, they shifted how the entire world sees football, sees nations, and sees the very idea of glory and heartbreak. Today, we're counting down the greatest of those moments. Not just the goals, the stories behind them. The culture, the history, and why almost a century later, we're still talking about them. Moment 1. The Maracanazo, 1950. Brazil didn't just want to win the 1950 World Cup, they needed to. It was their tournament, on home soil, in the newly built Maracanã Stadium, the largest stadium on Earth at the time. 200,000 fans packed in. Newspapers had already printed victory headlines. The mayor of Rio prepared a speech calling Brazil champions. And then Uruguay walked in and beat them 2-1. Silence. Actual physical silence from 200,000 people. It's called the Maracanazo, the Maracanã blow. And to this day, some historians call it the most devastating sports loss in history. Brazilian football didn't recover its confidence for years. Some say it's the reason Brazil's iconic yellow jersey was created afterward, as a symbolic rebirth. Because their old white jersey was seen as cursed. Moment 2, the Miracle of Bern, 1954. Hungary in 1954 was untouchable. They hadn't lost a match in 4 years. Their squad, nicknamed the Mighty Magyars, was considered the greatest team assembled up to that point. They even beat West Germany 8-3 in the group stage. Then, in the final, against that same West German team, Hungary somehow lost 3-2. West Germany, a nation still rebuilding from the devastation of World War II, suddenly had something to celebrate. That win became known as the Miracle of Bern. For a country trying to reconstruct its identity, football gave them a new one. Moment 3. Pelé and Brazil, 1970. By 1970, Brazil returned, and this time they didn't just win, they redefined what football could look like. Pelé, at the peak of his powers, led a team that played with rhythm, flair, and creativity that felt more like art than sport. The 1970 Brazil squad is still considered by many historians as the greatest team to ever play the game. That tournament also introduced football to colour television for the first time, which meant the whole world, for the first time, saw Brazil's iconic yellow shirts in full, vivid colour on screens everywhere. It wasn't just a football moment, it became a visual symbol of joy. Moment 4, the hand of God and the goal of the century, 1986. Diego Maradona, in the quarter-final against England, scored 2 goals just minutes apart. The first was illegal. He punched the ball into the net with his hand, and somehow the referee didn't see it. Maradona later called it, quote, a little with the head of Maradona and a little with the hand of God. Then, just 4 minutes later, he did something almost impossible. He picked up the ball in his own half, dribbled past 5 England players, and scored what's still voted the greatest goal in World Cup history. One moment, controversy. The next, genius. That's the chaos and brilliance that makes football unforgettable. Moment 5. Cameroon shocks the world, 1990. In 1990, African football had never truly been taken seriously on the world stage. Then, Cameroon walked onto the pitch against Argentina, the defending champions, and beat them. Roger Miller, 38 years old at the time, danced by the corner flag after scoring, creating one of football's most iconic celebrations. Cameroon eventually reached the quarter-finals, the deepest run by an African nation at that point. That tournament changed how the world viewed African football forever. It wasn't an underdog story anymore, it was proof. Moment 6. Zidane's headbutt, 2006. Fast forward to 2006, Zinedine Zidane playing what was supposed to be the final match of his legendary career. In the World Cup final, Zidane headbutted Italian defender Marco Materazzi in the chest and was sent off. France lost the final on penalties. It's one of the most bizarre, human and unforgettable endings in World Cup history. A legendary career, ending not in glory, but in a moment of raw emotion, in front of 1 billion viewers. Moment 7. Iniesta's winner, 2010. Spain for decades was considered a nation of talented players who somehow always underachieved. Until 2010. In extra time of the final, against the Netherlands, Andres Iniesta scored the winning goal, giving Spain their first ever World Cup title. That victory wasn't just a trophy, it validated an entire footballing philosophy. Tiki-taka, quick passing, patient possession that Spain had been building for over a decade. Moment 8. Germany 7, Brazil 1, 2014. If you want proof that football can humble anyone, look no further than this. Brazil, hosting the World Cup on home soil again, faced Germany in the semi-final. Nobody predicted what happened next. Germany scored 5 goals in the first 30 minutes alone. The final score, 7-1. It remains one of the most shocking results in football history and a painful reminder that no matter your history, your fans or your pressure, football doesn't care about reputation. And finally, we arrive at a final so dramatic it might never be topped. Moment 9. The greatest final ever, 2022. Argentina versus France. Lionel Messi, playing what many believe to be his last World Cup. Chasing the one trophy that had eluded him his entire career, Argentina led 2-0. Then Kylian Mbappe scored 2 goals in under 2 minutes, dragging France back level. Extra time, Messi scored again. Mbappe equalised again, completing a hat-trick in a World Cup final, only the second time that's ever happened. Penalties. Argentina won. Messi finally lifted the trophy that had haunted his entire legacy. It wasn't just a win, it was closure for an entire generation of fans who had watched him fall short over and over for nearly 2 decades. Before we wrap up, here are a few facts that might surprise you. Fact 1. The World Cup trophy itself has been stolen twice in history. Once in England in 1966, recovered days later by a dog named Pickles. And once in Brazil in 1983. And that time, it was never found again. Fact 2. Only 8 nations have ever won the World Cup out of over 200 countries that exist today. Fact 3. The 1950 tournament in Brazil never actually had a true final match. It ended with a final round-robin group. And Brazil versus Uruguay just happened to be the decisive match. Fact 4. Roger Milla, the Cameroonian legend from 1990, came out of retirement to play in that tournament and became the oldest goalscorer in World Cup history at the time. So why does any of this matter, especially now heading into World Cup 2026? Because these moments prove something powerful. The World Cup isn't predictable, it isn't scripted. It's raw, human emotion played out on the biggest stage in sports. Every 4 years, we get new heroes, new heartbreaks, and new miracles. And World Cup 2026, the biggest edition in history, with 48 teams across 3 host nations in North America, is set up to create moments just like these. New nations qualifying for the first time, legends chasing final chances at glory, underdogs waiting for their Cameroon moment. Somewhere in some stadium in 2026, history is going to be made again. From the silence of the Maracanã, to Maradona's genius and controversy, to Messi's redemption in the Qatar desert.
The World Cup has never just been about football, it's about identity, pride, heartbreak,
And moments so powerful they outlive the players who created them. And in 2026, we get to witness the next chapter. If this journey through football history gave you chills, hit subscribe. Because we're breaking down everything you need to know before World Cup 2026 kicks off. Which moment on this list is your favourite? Drop it in the comments below. And if you want to see our next video ranking every World Cup 2026 stadium, click the video on your screen right now. Because every 4 years, this cycle repeats. New stories, new legends. And that's exactly why the World Cup remains the most watched event on the planet. No other sporting event unites the world quite like this one. No other sporting event unites the world quite like this one. And every player who steps onto that pitch knows they could become part of it. That's the beauty of this tournament. Nobody knows who the next legend will be. It could be a rookie nobody has heard of. It could be a veteran chasing one final chance. That unpredictability is exactly what makes the World Cup so special. You never know which match will become the next iconic moment, which is exactly why fans across the globe count down the days until kickoff. So, as we head toward 2026, remember these 9 moments we just covered. Because they're not just history, they're a preview of what's still possible. Because they're not just history, they're a preview of what's still possible. A new goal of the century, a new redemption story like Messi's. History doesn't repeat itself exactly, but it always finds new ways to amaze us. That's what keeps billions of fans coming back, tournament after tournament. The hope for something unforgettable, the belief that anything can happen. So when 2026 arrives, watch closely, because you might be witnessing the next great World Cup moment. As it happens, live, in real time. And that's what makes this tournament unlike anything else in sports. So thank you for taking this journey through football history with us today. If you learned something new, that's exactly what this channel is here for. Breaking down football history, culture, and everything leading up to World Cup 2026. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss what's coming next. Because the road to 2026 is just getting started. And there are so many more incredible stories still to tell. See you in the next video. Let's count down to World Cup 2026 together.